What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today we're going to be having a look at the Super Evolution for Sanji and Pudding. So we are going to talk about their abilities, we'll talk about the level limit break, we'll talk about the rumble. Before we do that though, I do want to have just a very quick run through of the original Sanji and Pudding, so you've got some context as to what's being upgraded when we move into the Super Evolution. So of course this unit is a Fighter Cerebral in their dual form. Sanji, Fighter Cerebral Quick, Pudding, Cerebral Shooter, Dex. In their combined form, very bare bones basic, attack boost, health boost, recovery boost, damage reduction, matching slots, that's it. Not really too much going on, of course, it's an older Sugofest exclusive. The special ability is quite interesting though, gives you a heal, removing damage reduction and threshold completely on the enemy, and gives Fighter and Cerebral 2.25 color affinity boost for 2 turns, combined for 3 turns. So that's a very powerful effect, being to remove 2 of those defensive effects completely. Very good. This character saw quite a bit of play when it first came out. And of course, it's a Sanji character. You can attach Onami to remove enemy defense or set their defense to 0. So you could potentially remove all 3 of those key defensive effects with one special launch. Very good. In terms of the crewmate abilities, nothing too crazy. It does resist special bind, which is kind of interesting. But in terms of the switch is not great. It does remove paralysis, despair, and slot bind on themselves completely, which is kind of whatever. They give themselves a matching slot through block slots, and then you heal 25% of the damage that you took during that stage when you move on to the next stage. So not a great effect overall. And then in Rumble, they are kind of like just giving random rainbow buffs. So all enemies level 6 attack down for the first 40 seconds, all enemies special CT down level 2, and then defense down level 2. So, you know, giving any enemies just a bunch of debuffs. Their special, again, like kind of weird, 2.5 times damage to 3 targets, and then all enemies get speed down. It's not really a great special considering very high special CT. So that's kind of it in terms of the breakdown of the base unit. And now we can go and have a look at the Super Evolution. So the artwork really hasn't changed all that much. Like, yes, it's an extended artwork, but it's still like the same scene. I thought they would have done something a little bit different. Unfortunately, they didn't. But let's go ahead and have a breakdown in terms of what this character is doing. So Sanji Pudding is the same classes, same colors, Fighter Cerebral Quick, Cerebral Shooter, and Dex. In the Captain ability, this is the combined form. -1 turn of cooldown, Fighter Cerebral get 5.75 times attack this time, 1.35 HP, 1.5 times recovery, 15% damage reduction instead of 10%. Fighter and Cerebral strength, dex, quick, recovery, and Semler slots are going to be beneficial. So that's a bit different. I believe recovery was not beneficial before. Semler definitely wasn't, but now Semler is now matching, which is really strong. Also heals the crew by 5,000 HP at the end of the turn. You can overheal your HP as well. And then when this character taps with a recovery or a Semler slot or a rainbow slot, increases your color affinity boosts by 0.3. So they didn't really add a utility effect in the Captain, which is a little disheartening. I would have loved if they were able to do that, but unfortunately that's not the case. Do they have anything interesting in their solo Captain abilities? Because sometimes you gotta read the solo Captains, because sometimes they add because obviously you don't start as a dual unit, you start as the solo units, and sometimes they add little neat things in the solo ability so that when you start the quest you actually get something really cool. It doesn't look like that is the case here, so that is a little disappointing. Another thing that I find disappointing is the fact that Pudding is Shooter, but they don't boost Shooter in this kit at all. It's still only focused on Fighter and Cerebral. So I am a little annoyed that they did that. It is what it is though, you know, I guess that was a little bit of a reach, but it is what it is, right? So that is with the buffed Captain ability, by the way. I do have this character at level limit break 4. I don't have level limit break 5. That was the buffed Captain ability that you saw. If you don't have this investment up until level limit break 3, of course, your Captain ability will look slightly weaker than the one that you see here. So let's go ahead and have a look at the special. Now, my special is not the fully buffed version, so let's go to the level limit break 5. So it says it heals the crew by 30,000 HP. That can overheal. It will also reduce damage taken by 80% for 2 turns. It completely removes Threshold and Rainbow Shield on the enemy, and completely removes the crew's heal. Oh, it's not healing to damage. It's recovery and Semler slots consumed into damage. It removes that debuff completely. and gives color affinity boost to fighter and cerebral 2.5 times for 3 turns, and then they combine for 3 turns. Man, it's kind of disappointing. They didn't really add much. If you really, like, boil it down, the character does the same thing. The multiplier of the color affinity boost is slightly higher, and it is for 3 turns instead of 2. So I suppose that could be one of the biggest buffs here. Removing the recovery similar healing into damage, removing that completely. While that's interesting, that is a very rare debuff in and of itself. So it's not something you're going to be coming across that often. And damage reduction, the 80% damage reduction for 2 turns, I mean, that's fine. A little niche. I was definitely expecting way more here. So, personally speaking, I'm quite disappointed at what this character is providing with the special, with the captain. It's just, they could have done a lot more. So, I'm a little disappointed, honestly. They could have done a lot more. Let's have a look at the switch effects here. So, completely removes characters' paralysis, despair, and slot bind. Give themselves a similar slot before it was a matching slot. And then heal 25% of the damage that you took. Now, this character does get a super switch after 5 switches. It completely removes paralysis, despair, slot bind on themselves, whatever. Reduces the crew's paralysis and despair duration by 3 turns. That's a neat difference. That is very, very good. Changes this character's slot, including block, into similar. Changes adjacent slots, including block, into rainbow. And heals 40% of the damage received when you move on to the next stage. Okay, that's actually a pretty good switch effect. That's a really good super switch. Being able to remove 2 different debuffs by 3 turns. Very common debuffs too, in paralysis and despair. This will see play because of that, I guess. Being able to change slots into similar and rainbow that goes through block, uninterruptible by the opponent. That's also a very cool effect. So the super switch is definitely carrying. This is the most impressive buff that I think I've seen thus far in this entire kit. That's a really, really nice buff to their switch effect there. But that's kind of it. Like, this character doesn't really do a whole lot. Yeah, it makes recovery and similar beneficial, which you would hope so. If this character's doing similar related stuff, I would hope that they're going to treat them as beneficial. So yeah, honestly, they just could have done way more. I'm definitely disappointed. Let's have a look at the Rumble. So they actually buffed the Rumble special. It is now a 33 CT. That is different. I want to check real quick. So at level limit break 5, they get the resistance there. So they get the resistance to special bind, and then also 40% damage reduction against shooter and free spirit. That's honestly pretty decent damage reduction there. So I guess this is the best version of themselves. So the Rumble ability is going to give fighter and cerebral teammates level 7 attack, level 7 health, level 7 speed. So that is vastly different from what we saw before. The character beforehand was focused on debuffing the enemy. This one now is focused on buffing your team this time. This character, also being a fighter character, does give a little bit of an upgrade to the fighter team, because fighters kind of need it. They're not very good. They're not good in normal content. They're not good in Rumble either. So this is a little bit of a nice buff to them, I suppose. Hopefully the special is good. So the special here at 33 CT, it will go ahead and target 3 enemies for 3.5 times damage, and then targets all enemies for level 11 attack down and speed down. That's a pretty decent special overall. Level 11 attack down is no joke. Like, that's gonna make tanking hits a lot easier. 3.5 times damage is really good too, and it's guaranteed hits too. It's guaranteed to hit 3 targets. Although it's not specific, it can literally hit anyone. It's not high HP, low HP, low defense, high attack, whatever it is. It's just guaranteed hit 3 for 3.5, and then also debuff all enemies, level 11 attack, level 11 speed. Honestly, I think that's pretty good. I think this character is definitely pretty solid in Rumble. Is this character worth putting on a fighter team though? It's tough. It's tough. It is taking up a whole slot for a legend, being that 55 cost. It's definitely a rough drawback for sure. But we'll see. Maybe this is going to give fighters a little bit of a buff that they need. Probably not, though. They probably need a lot. So, overall, they could have done a little bit better. But hey, that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section, guys. What do you think about the new released 6+ Sanji and Pudding? Really hope you guys enjoyed this video today though, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.